internet friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation Couture, and today we are doing another episode of my hyperfixation of the moment, which is natural dyeing. This time I'm trying to find pink. So we're going to be comparing three different natural source to try to see if we can obtain pink. We're going to go with my trusted dragon fruit powder that I know we will have pink, but I want to compare it to other things. So we're going to be comparing it with hibiscus flowers and with rose petals. So without further ado, let's get into this.
Okay, so what we're going to be working today is basically we're going to, oops, I want to see which will give us an actual pink color. So we already know that the dragon fruit will give us pink because we did that in a previous experiment. But I want to see if the dried rose petals will give us an actual pink. And we also have hibiscus tea over here. So this one I'm pretty sure it's going to give us pink. So I just want to see what is going to give the best shade, I guess, the best hue. I don't know. Since I don't have as much as this one compared to the other ones, we're going to be doing like 20 gram of each so we can have a good comparison between all of them. So I'm going to start with my hibiscus tea. And even though I said 20 gram, that's a lot. And even though it's technically all food grade, I will not, oops, I was in your way, be using any of the food kitchen things. I only use things, we need to zero it out. I only use my dyeing equipment, even though I know that it is food grade. And what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be preparing the dye for tomorrow because it takes a little longer to prepare those things. It takes quite a lot. But I'm not going to be preparing the dragon fruit powder tonight. I'll do that tomorrow because we don't need to prepare it in advance since it's a powder and it will quickly dissolve. In tomorrow. Wow, that takes a lot. And right now we have the skeins of classic sock, so 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, that are pre-soaking with some citric acid. Right on the dot. Okay, so we're going to put that in our pot and cover it with hot water. Bring it to a boil to create our what is it called? Stock solution? Yeah, but concentrate. Yes. Okay, so we're going to do the hibiscus in this one. And we're going to do the rose petals in this one. And let's cover it. And I don't know if the rose petals will create pink. Okay, so we can already see that the hibiscus is releasing. It looks red to me. But yeah, it looks red. But it might change with with everything. And I'm going to be adding a little bit of water because anyways we're going to be topping it up tomorrow with more water so we can do our scouring at the same time as our dyeing. It's an all-in-one pot. Because the reason why I'm questioning if the rose petals will give us a pink color is because when we first tried dyeing with the hyacinth, uh, we got a yellow. So I'm just wondering if the dried roses will do the same thing. Okay, so we're going to let this, we'll bring it to a boil and we'll come back later to let it, so we're going to bring it to a boil and then we're going to let this simmer for at least 15 to 30 minutes. The longer you do the simmering portion, the more concentrate the color will be. So we'll come back in about half an hour to see what this looks like. Did I turn it on? Yes. And we'll see the concentration and the level of all that stuff, and we'll see from there what we want to do. So, see you in half an hour. Okay, so it's been roughly 30 minutes. So we can already see that we have a good color concentration for the hibiscus. Hibiscus. Hibiscus? Anyways. And here, well, at least we don't have the yellow we had last time. So we might end up with a peach. Come on. We might end up with a peach color for that one because it's very much on the peach side. Okay, so I'm pretty sure, so my prediction is this one will be peach. This one it might be pink, but it also might be, no, it will be pink, that's for sure. And this one I'm fairly certain will be peach. And we know that the dragon fruit will give us a very soft ballet pink. So turn it off. Is it, so we're going to turn it off. I'm going to let this cool overnight with the leaves in it. And tomorrow we're going to be removing this. I'll be preparing the dragon fruit one and we'll be able to dye it. Okay, and good morning everyone. I hope you had a good night of sleep. So, where we are at. So I already removed all the petals and the hibiscus flowers, and I already did the dragon fruit thing because it was going to take forever. I didn't take into consideration that the rose petals would expand and rehydrate, so there's that. I'm very glad that I did end up adding more water than what I was going for in the first place. I have hair going everywhere apparently. Okay, so my expectation for those colors, I'm pretty sure that the rose petals will give us a peach color. I'm sure those two will give us a pink. However, I don't know what kind of shades we're going to obtain with each of this. We already know that this one will give us a very subtle pink if we don't have a whole lot of fiber versus the dragon fruit. But just a friendly reminder, we have 20 grams of each things, and 20 grams might be slightly different for the concentration, but we're going to see. And we're going to be using the 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon for all of them, so only one skein of each. I don't know if we're going to get a clean bath. If we do, good. If not, what we can do is just add another skein until we reach the point of a clear bath. Because I don't want to waste any of that beautiful colors, and I'm very curious to see the shades we can obtain with this. So The yarn has been pre-soaking with citric acid in it since yesterday. And like I said, I'm very confident that we're going to have a peach or tan maybe color with the rose petals just from the color of the dye bath. And I know there's still petals in there, however, that's it is what it is because it was hard to remove it. And I'm curious to see what shade. I think this is going to be very pretty with the hibiscus. It's almost going. So far, it's giving a ruby shade, and I'm very. That's nice. Okay, and the dragon fruit now. So we kind of know what kind of pink we're going to get. Almost a bubblegum pink. But this one, I know it will be darker than the last time because we have more dragon fruit powder in it. Because I wanted to have a rough idea of the range that we can get with those colors. And it's always surprising to me that a color that, like, what I mean is that for the rose petals, what I'm seeing right now looks tan in the pot. And it's very surprising for me to have that color because I was expecting something a little pinker, I would say, just due to the fact that the petals themselves were pinker. But once we've removed all the color and it went into the pot, it's more on the tan side, so it's very interesting. And even though I've already pre-soaked with citric acid, I'm going to be adding a little bit more citric acid in each pot. Since we only have one skein, it's like roughly a teaspoon. I'm very curious to see the hibiscus final color because it almost looks orange now. So the color is slightly shifting and it might be due to the citric acid. Okay. We shall see what color we get with this one. So we're going to let this cook for half an hour when we reach the 95 Celsius for this. And we'll come back later to see where we're at for the dye bath color. And I think I'm going to get some skeins. Yeah, I'm going to be pre-soaking some skeins because I have a feeling we're going to have leftover colors in the bath, so we'll do that. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so far the dragon fruit is master of the color so far because we have a clear bath compared to the hibiscus and compared to the roses. So good thing that I did do those. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add those extra skeins together maybe. I don't know, but it's normal when you're doing that kind of dyeing to not have a clear vat at the end. So I was not worried about that and I was expecting it. Yep. Now I'm going to go. I turned off the heat off camera earlier in the day, um, because I share my basement with other people in my life, so they could use it. I'm wondering how much bleeding we'll get with this. Uh, Interesting cool colors. And it smells like roses. So I don't know why I'm surprised. I think I'll do 2 in the hibiscus because I feel like I have more colors left in there. And that way we'll be able to compare as well. It's not hot, FYI. So that way we'll be able to compare the colors and everything. It's interesting. Okay. Maybe what I'm going to do, I'm going to add 1 skein that is dry and hasn't been pre-soaked and hasn't been pre-soaked with citric acid, just to see if it creates something different. Just so I can see if the pre-soak makes a difference. Oh, I should have put a mark on the zip tie to know which one is what. Oops. Oh well. That's life now. Too late. It's too late for that. That's okay. Okay, well, we're going to let this cook. When it reaches the 95 Celsius, we will let it cook for at least half an hour. Well, the dragon fruit so far is still supreme master of the natural dyeing for me, because it's the nicer one as of right now. Okay. Ah, I'm getting soaked. Okay, let's clean this up. So the first one that we're washing is the dragon fruit one, and honestly I am so amazed by the fact that we obtain, this is the second time I'm dyeing with the dragon fruit dried powder, and this is the second time that I have a clear bath. It's completely exhausted, there's no trace of any color in. It is a very lovely pink. And I'm just so surprised because usually when you're doing natural dyeing, you don't really clear your dye bath. So it's very, I don't know for sure, because what I was reading is that there is natural tannin in the dragon fruit, but I don't know how much tannin there is. So we already know that tannin is a natural mordant and a natural binding agent in natural dyeing. So I guess I shouldn't be so surprised that we have a clear bath, but at the same time, I'm surprised because it's a very pigmented color, so it's very nice to have it. I'm just sad because the dragon fruit powder is quite expensive, which means that yeah, which means that it is expensive. So I can't really do bigger scale with using that. I would have to find another pigment. So for the other two colors with the hibiscus and with the rose petals, I will have to work a little bit because we did not have a clear bath, and I know I've shown you that I was adding other skeins to try to clear the bath, because might as well try to clear it off. And we're going to see in a second the second video where I'm cleaning up those skeins. I had a little bit more work to do to clean them off, but for the second time around, not as much because there was not a whole lot of pigment left in the dye bath. I still had some color left in the bath. However, there was not enough for me to consider dyeing more things with it because we're already having a very pastel pale colors with the extra skeins that we've added to clear, well, at least to try to clear the bath that we had. So you can see here, that's the hibiscus one. It's crazy to me because that color is it looks very pigmented, but once it's on the skein, it looks so pale. And you can notice that I have some little hibiscus flowers left on the skeins, which is fine. It's going to wash off. And you can see here that we have quite a bit of bleeding happening. So I think that next time what we're going to try to experiment with is different mordant to see for the hibiscus one if a different mordant would work better, because what I'm doing is using my citric acid, right? So I believe that if we try, well, no, I don't believe anything. I'm still clueless for most of the thing. I've made research and I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing. So that's just life. Anyways, what I was trying to say is that we know that there is different type of mordant that we can use in natural dyeing. So what we're trying to do next time that we're doing something is experimenting with different mordant, and what they can do, and if there is one that is better when it comes to the hibiscus one, because I am very curious to see if there is any difference in the mordant. And what I was reading also is that when you're adding an acidic mordant, it will impact the final color of your skeins. So this is also something that we could see during that experiment, what is happening if we're using like the citric acid versus the alum powder versus maybe another, I don't know, another type of mordant. So those are all exciting things that we can experiment with in the upcoming month, because I've been slightly obsessed with natural dyeing. So I am bringing you with me in this madness. I hope you don't mind. Okay, see you in a bit.
And here's the final result for the attempt to find a pink. I'm I'm slightly discouraged. This hyperfixation of mine is starting to take a toll. I will probably be taking a little break after this. However, my dragon fruit dry powder is the best. It's just very unfortunate how expensive it is, and I'm really wondering, even using fresh dragon fruit, it would take a lot of money. And there's not a whole lot of a difference between the hibiscus and the like red rose petals. Um, like this one is slightly more tan, and so this is the roses petals, and this is the hibiscus one. There's barely a difference. Like this one is a little bit more on the pink side, where this one is more on the peach side, I would say. Um, so, hi Zoe. So this was fun, and I made all of those colors here using the leftover bat from the hibiscus and the rose petals. The rose petal I was almost able to clear the bath, so that was nice. But the hibiscus one, we still had a lot of water of a color in it. However, as you can see, it's it's barely changed the color. Um, like it still changed the color, but very lightly, so it was not worth for me. It's a waste up to try to clear it completely. So this was a lesson for me, because I learned that some colors will never completely clear in the bath, which is fine. It's a learning process, right? I think that next time I'm trying hibiscus, I will try to see if alum powder would make a difference mordant wise. This is something because this is using citric acid, and I'm just wondering if using alum powder would change the final result when it comes to the color, but also when it comes to the color absorption. Um, because this is something I was reading that like sometimes you need to change your mordant to see how things turns out. So this is Zoe. This is something we will try at some point. I don't know when, but I will try that at some point. And yeah, so if you've liked the video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye.